And for my whole life, I tried to be like this. I've been very lost. I've been very lost. When I was young, I used to be very close to my father. You know, we used to be best friends. I used to idolize him, to be honest. He used to be my hero. I loved him so much with this immense passion. And my mom and my dad, when I was very young, when I was around 6 or 7, they got a divorce. And my father left the country, and he left me with my mother. I was around 7, I think, or maybe 8. And I lost my best friend. He was my best friend. And I felt, abandoned in the moment. I felt, why did this guy leave me, Am I not good enough? Am I not worthy of love? Am I not a good enough person? What did I do wrong? And I blame myself, I blame myself for my dad leaving. And I think that's why it was so hard on me. And I think that's why I left like this deep, deep emptiness inside me. And there was nothing I could do that could just make me feel whole again. It's like I lost a part of myself, like I lost a piece of my soul. And I never felt like me again. And now that I'm older, I look back on everything that's happened in my life. All that sentiment about not being enough, all that sentiment about feeling worthless, feeling like I don't deserve love, feeling like people are just going to leave me, feeling like rejected, feeling sensitive to rejection. To a degree where it hurts me so much more than I think like the regular person. Rejection hurts me a lot, And recently I've gone through... I did mess up, by the way. It was kind of my fault, but I did go through a period of rejection. Which I don't blame her. I think it was my fault as well. But I did feel rejected, I feel like I felt like I lost that affection she was giving me, and that hurt me so much. And I felt abandoned. I felt like I've been very hard on myself lately, just blaming myself for everything and blaming myself for all my problems, which it is my fault. It is. I should blame myself, I think. But I'm very hard on myself. I am very hard on myself. And I'm very critical of my actions and my decisions. And sometimes I make a decision knowing it's the wrong decision, but I just do it because I feel like I'm... Sorry for that. I feel like I don't deserve to feel good. I don't deserve to make progress. I don't deserve to be happy. So I self-sabotage in a way, which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Well, I think it just comes from a lack of self-love. It comes from a lack of self-empathy, a lack of not loving yourself in to a certain degree. This is why I think childhood is very essential part of how we grow and how we think and how our mentality is when we become adults. Because I'm 23, and this fear of abandonment, this fear of rejection, it stems from childhood. It does. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. The more I analyze it, the more, it makes sense to me. Ever since that moment where my dad left, I've never felt worthy. I've always felt really bad about myself. Which is funny, right? And I'm not saying this to speak ill about my father. My father, today we're very close. As adults, we're close, and I love him so much. And we're not perfect. We make mistakes. My father made mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. So I don't make this video to talk ill about my father in any manner, okay? It's just how I feel right now, and how, I'm just getting things off my chest. And I love my father. He's done a lot for me. He wasn't present, during my childhood or my adolescence, but I love him. And even though he has made mistakes and he wasn't present, I still love him. And yeah, but it's funny, right? So the things we go through as children, as kids, just shapes our whole being, really, as adults, and how we think. This is why it's so important to have like this, a good family around you, a good, stable parents, stable home, stable environment. And a lot of us, we don't get that. We're not dealt the right cards, and that's just a part of life. And all we can do now is just look forward and see how we can better ourselves and analyze ourselves. And why do we think like this? Why am I thinking like this? Why do I fear rejection so much? Why do I fear people leaving me? Why do I feel like I'm not enough? And we look back at our memories and the things we've gone through, and we can start, to put the pieces of the puzzle into place, and things start to become clear. Things starts to become, everything starts to make sense. Like me, I've always been the type of person that I've hidden away from my problems. I've hidden away from everything that makes me feel negative, and I get very scared. I get very fearful. Okay, when it comes to negative emotions, I run away from it. But lately, I've been looking back, and analyzing and reflecting on, why do I feel this way? Why am I like this? And I've almost gotten to a place where I'm compassionate to myself. I'm like this. I feel this because of this happened to me, and it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. This deep pain that stems from my childhood, stems from my father not being around so much at an early age. This is why I'm feeling like this, or this is why I fear this, or this is why I'm scared that someone might leave me, or maybe I don't feel like I don't deserve love. I feel like I'm not enough, or I don't value myself, or I don't, I feel worthless sometimes. And when you can analyze that, and when you can reflect on that, and when things starts to make sense, and you start to really understand yourself, I think that's where you can be compassionate to yourself and be like, Amin, that's my name. My name is Amin, by the way. Amin, you've gone through a lot. There's deep pain inside you. And it's okay you're feeling like this. And you do deserve love. You do deserve good people around you. And you do have value. You're worth something. You do have a lot of value, and you're special, and you deserve love. And you deserve to have good people around you, I'm just repeating myself now. But I'm just saying, you start to become compassionate to yourself. You start to become almost understanding to yourself when you make mistakes, or when you're scared and when you're fearful. And it's a whole nother ball game. It's a whole nother life when you start to become compassionate to yourself. It's just a whole nother way of living, a way of talking to yourself. Okay, you made a mistake, but you look in the mirror and you're like, you just forgive yourself. You just forgive yourself, and you tell yourself that you love yourself. It's just a whole different way of living. I'm trying to live like that now, it isn't something that you can fix, in 1, 2, 3 days. It does take a while. It is a process. It is a journey. But once you start to look in the mirror, and you start to become compassionate to yourself, and you start loving yourself, and you tell yourself that you have worth and that you have value, man, you become lighter, man. You just become lighter. You just become a better person. I don't know how to say. You just, that you become at peace almost. You become at peace. It becomes peaceful, a peaceful way of living. Where I was just hammering myself constantly, man. Hammering. Why am I not accepted? Why do I feel different? Why do I feel strange? Why do I feel weird? And I used to hammer myself so much. So I was so hard on myself, and I don't wish that upon anyone. I don't wish that upon you. I don't wish that upon anyone, And that's why I beg you to start loving yourself, and I beg you to start understanding yourself, and I beg you to start having compassion to yourself, you know, and to forgive yourself when you make mistakes, because you're human, you're not perfect. People make worse mistakes than you and they forgive themselves, so why can't you forgive yourself? And you do deserve love, and you are worth, and you do have worth, and you do, you know, have value. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And that deep pain you have, that deep pain that you might not know where it comes from, or you might do, you know, that hole, that emptiness, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, man. Yeah. These videos, they get emotional, they really do. I'm not, I hate to admit this, but I'm an emotional being. I cry a lot. Not around people, when I'm by myself. I am quite emotional sometimes. But not all the time. Because I don't think you should be crying every single day, you know. Love yourself. I think that's the final message. Love yourself. Because you deserve it.